Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Rina Bajaj and I'm a counselling psychologist.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay Verdi.
And today we're going to be discussing Jay's fight. So Jay, thanks for talking to me.
It's a pleasure.
First of all, could you please just tell us a bit more about your condition?
So I have a mixed connective tissue disorder.
Okay.
It's an autoimmune condition, and my predominant connective tissue kind of trigger, as it were, is systemic sclerosis with interstitial lung disease, which is a very rare condition.
Right, okay.
Systemic sclerosis is also known as scleroderma.
Okay, right. And I understand that it's a chronic health condition, physical health condition.
Yes.
How did you first know that something was wrong?
So, by profession, I'm a teacher, and
Okay.
so in my daily life, I'd bounce around the classroom, I'd manage my department, I'd go for training and parents' evenings, and just get on with life. But I'd come home extremely exhausted.
Right, okay.
And in exhaustion I couldn't explain. I had a journey with random bruising, rashes, muscular aches and pains, joint pain, inflammation, which all led then eventually to a diagnosis of the overlap mixed connective tissue disorders and systemic sclerosis with interstitial lung disease.
So it sounded like quite a shift then in terms of quite a fast pace of life and then moving to this unpredictable kind of nature in life, really.
Absolutely. I mean, I had a very dynamic career. I was incredibly passionate as an educator. My lifestyle was quite vibrant, to say the least. I enjoyed all sorts of things, travelling, sports, and just socialising, getting out and just doing what I just being me.
Yeah.
And it just became apparent to me that I was unable to do these things as often or as wholeheartedly as I wanted to.
Yeah. And also, if I understand correctly, it can be classed as an invisible condition. And so what's that like for you when it also seems quite unpredictable, not knowing how you may be impacted on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely. I think that's a crucial point to note, that it is an invisible condition. The fact that this predominant condition, this sclerosis, is predominantly manifesting in the lungs. It's not apparent. You cannot wear your lungs as a pendant, as it were, so you can't show people the actual damage or the restriction that you have, the impairment. I don't use any particular aids, so I'm not in a wheelchair. I mean, it comes down to that point about invisible disabilities, and is there a look for? Is there a disabled look?
I mean, I would look at you, and this is probably my assumption, but it probably would be an assumption of some other people, and say actually you're quite young to have a chronic health condition, and actually looking at you, you look relatively well. As you were saying, you don't kind of use any aids or anything like that. So have you found that that's had any impact on how people view you at all?
Absolutely. I mean, I've had all sorts of adversity, you're making it up, or I have a blue badge, so if I park my car in a disabled bay, I will get looks, or I will get shouted at, screamed at. I've had I would say gentlemen, but I had a person scream at me when I was actually going to one of my very important lung function tests. And I joked with him to say, I'm actually going up for my lung function testing, and it seems that you're really able to scream at me really well. So how about joining the lung transfer list, because I could do with a set of lungs like yours. I'd love to be back in the classroom. And so I think there's an element of using your sense of humour on the good days, when you know you have that kind of mental energy as well to go with that physical lack of energy. However, there are times where you're challenged and you're concerned about your next lung function test. It's not something that you the number of appointments, medical appointments, and tests that I have to have, it's almost as though having my full-time job and the timetable
Yeah.
with medical appointments in every week and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it takes on this full-on mental and emotional effect on you as well.
So it kind of impacts various aspects of your life. And it actually seems like it was quite a shift from the type of lifestyle you used to before to now your lifestyle and fitting in kind of practical appointments, but also noting the mental impact, the emotional impact of that.
Absolutely, and I think that's a really interesting discussion to bring about. Dealing with invisible illnesses. It's like you mentioned earlier, it's a chronic condition. It's not a condition that's going to go away. One of the issues with systemic sclerosis and scleroderma and these rare conditions, autoimmune conditions, is that there is an unknown. It's the unknown cause. It's an unknown treatment. Treatments and management is based very much on your skilled medical professionals' experience and trials. There is no fix for this particular type of condition that fits any kind of a group of people within this diagnosis. It's very much an individualistic diagnosis. And then that leads on to the unknown of how quickly will this progress, what next, and that has its mental and emotional toll on you. You have to think about your lifestyle, as you mentioned earlier. Your life choices on whether or not you want to get married and have children, and how quickly things might progress for you. Do you want to then have children with the possibility of becoming further disabled, or the actual serious possibility of a fatal outcome? So
it feels like a lot to hold at times, actually.
Absolutely. And in those days when you are going for certain tests, such as the lung function tests, your lungs are your internal wings, and you need them to power everything. The last thing you need is somebody screaming at you because you've parked in a bay. I didn't buy my blue badge.
So not understanding your perspective or having those assumptions around you. So Jay, I know physical health conditions can impact people in different ways, but is there anything from your experience that helped you to cope with the unpredictability, the change in lifestyle, the not knowing, the shouting, all of that kind of thing?
I spoke with Bill Buckley on BBC Radio Berkshire about the Kubler-Ross grief cycle, and I joke with friends and family about going through that quite often in a day, and I won't repeat what we call it now, but it's how many times do you go through that phase in a day? It very much is dependent on your good and bad days. We call them the good and bad days. Though I've chosen to do a few things differently. I realised a while ago, I've got this amazing life coach that's been working with me for a while, and I'd be asked many times what needs to change, and the answer to that is me. And so I realised very soon after that I needed to change that lifestyle. I needed to slow down a little bit. It was devastating for me to leave my employment as a teacher and full-time teaching, and that in itself came with a lot of mental anguish, and of course the anxiety that's attached to unknown conditions and how they might then affect you going forward. But I also had to make the decision on calming myself down and accepting and coming to acceptance and being grateful for the things I do have right now. So gratitude plays a huge role in this. And it was my life coach who kind of, taught me that a lot of maintaining peace and within myself and acceptance. Although I often think I haven't really accepted. So it's a mentality of how do you let go of the lifestyle you once knew?
So there's going to be some loss there.
And that's exactly where the Kubler-Ross model kind of works through the week with me, or over a few hours, because you can be in that chronic pain. You can be in times where you're stuck in bed, and the entire world's going on ahead. And you know, I'm a teacher, so at school I had the school bell there to remind me that every hour's ticking away, and it takes a long while for that to leave you. So you're very much aware of the seasons, you're very much aware of the terms, what you would be doing as in your normal profession, and also in your personal life. And just slowing that down and using a bit of appreciation, a bit of gratitude for the day that you have, and making the very most of it. Even when I'm stuck in bed, I am frustrated about not being able to get out there when it's a really great day in the summers, and I just want to be out there in the sun, and I just want to just go and do the things I used to do with friends and family. That I have to accept that it's just one of these temporary situations, and I hope that the next day will be better. And if I'm stuck there and I need to rest, I need to listen to my body and allow it to run its course. So we call them flare-ups. Good flare-ups and bad flare-ups. I guess.
So there's some great advice there, even in terms of acceptance of where you are in that moment, but also knowing that each day, each moment could be different. And, you know, being grateful for what is positive at that point in time.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the things that I hope my students would also say about me is that you have this dynamic, positive presence about you. And it doesn't matter what's happened or who hasn't done their homework. And, you know, like I really do believe, and I always used to say this phrase in the classroom: evolution is about progress. And if we can learn to rewire our thoughts and thought processes about how we feel, and we accept that those feelings are temporary, then I think that we can push through and come to some level of acceptance. Having said that, it's been a rocky few years.
I can imagine.
It's taken a lot of medical professionals to actually convince me to accept the condition, to make those lifestyle changes. It's taken a long time for me to accept that I have to take on board their medical opinions, because they do contrast when you have an unknown condition. And you start doing your own research, and you start thinking, well, actually, I don't want to accept this condition. I don't want to accept that this is going to happen to me, or I don't know what's happening to me. So coming to any form of acceptance of losing yourself has been a really difficult and challenging journey.
And it seems like it's sort of taken some time for you as well. So, I mean, just kind of to wrap up then, Jay, what's next for you?
Well, look, I'm really keen to spread the message about systemic sclerosis, scleroderma, interstitial lung disease, autoimmune conditions. I'm working with SRUK, Scleroderma and Raynaud's UK.
I noticed there's we've got a little newsletter here. SRUK. So you're kind of, there's an article on you in there.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know Dr. Rina Bajaj has just flashed that. I'm going to flash that one more time for SRUK. If you'd like a copy of this with us featured on the front cover, you must become a member of this wonderful charity that helps lots of people with autoimmune condition, but this particular autoimmune condition, but also has a great depth of knowledge around these conditions. I'm also running Jay's Fight, which is my crowdfunding for the kind of... I'm looking into many trials. I'm looking into the long-term management of my condition. So Jay's Fight is essentially there, one, to support the great work of the charities, but also there as a fund for me to fund my future management with this particular condition.
Great, and we'll put all the information below, so you've got information around both SRUK and also Jay's Fight.
Oh, sorry, can I also mention the British Lung Foundation?
Okay.
Because that's really important to mention their great work. So yes, that's what's ahead.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's a really inspiring story. And is there any kind of last words that you'd like to say to anyone who might be experiencing any physical health condition at this point in time?
Absolutely. I think, look, I know getting diagnosed with anything is always a concern, and it's always quite a challenge and a difficult phase, especially when you have something that is really quite serious. It's really quite unknown, and there are quite a lot of uncertainties. Speak to your professionals, trust them, and also trust that your situation is temporary. Really find some gratitude for the moments that you have. Find some gratitude for the position that you're in now. I mean, personally, for me, I know that this condition is degenerative and has a fatal outcome at some stage. But right now, I'm focusing on where I am today, in the present time, and I'm mindful of being grateful for all the opportunities I have right now. And that would be my message, is to really think about gratitude and just being here and being able to say thank you for everything.
Great.
So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. On that note, thanks,
and
Jay.
thank you.
And like I said, we'll have some more information below. So if you want to find out any more, have a look at the websites that we'll direct you to.